Hello and welcome to another Beer and Code. Today we are continuing talking about Kotlin and functions. And now we're learning about something really cool called extension functions. Extension functions in Kotlin and other languages that support them are a great way to add custom functionality to classes that you do not have control over. And I will explain what I mean momentarily. So we're going to hop into our sandbox and remove some code and start over. So an extension function, like I said, is a way to add functionality to classes that you wouldn't normally be able to add functionality to. So let's see what it looks like. So an extension function is just a function, and it has a name called, okay, so let's write an extension function that does this block of code for us, okay? So we're going to write an extension function that makes sure that all of the fields in declared fields, which is a array of field, we're going to make sure, we're going to write a function that sets them all to accessible. All right, so we're going to call, probably didn't spell that right, that's okay. So this function is going to be called MakeAccessible, and we don't need to take any parameters because it's just going to do something. But we need to declare that it's an extension function. And to do that, within our, right before our function, you declare the type. In this case, it was an array of field dot. Let's import that. Okay. So what you see here is an extension function. You just declare the function and you declare the type that you're extending. In this case, we're extending an array of field, and then the name of the function is called MakeAccessible. And what we're going to do is we're really just going to want to do this code. We're going to cut it out of there and put it in here. And so you can see that it translates 100% the same as over here. Because apply was setting this as the receiver, that's exactly what this extension function is doing as well. So this array of field becomes the receiver. So if you're not familiar with how the receiver works, I recommend watching my previous video on functional programming or not functional programming, but lambdas and higher order functions in Kotlin. But see, this array of fields becomes this here, and now we can just loop through it and set all of them to accessible. So let's replace the previous code with this new function called MakeAccessible. So we'll hop over here, we'll delete this, and we'll call dot MakeAccessible. And our IDE sees it as an option right there, and we'll put it in here. One thing, though, that this is doing incorrectly is fields is now of type unit, because I made a mistake. So MakeAccessible, we really want it to return this array that we just modified. And return this. So we will modify the values in the array and then just return the same array. So now fields get set correctly for use. So that's a very simple or straightforward example of an extension function. They become very, very popular. You can do things like extend strings. Maybe we'll just say like I can't think of a good example. Let's do upper. And I'm sure this already exists in Kotlin, and in fact I know it does. We're just going to call the uppercase function. So you can call return this dot to uppercase. And now we've extended string with a function called upper. And so this is very useful for types that you don't have access to, right? That you can't write an upper function for string because it's a Kotlin standard lib class. You can't add a function called MakeAccessible to an array of fields because that is a Kotlin class. So it's very useful to be able to extend things. Let me show you how I would use upper in this case. So I can like just declare a string dot upper. So it's very, very useful to be able to add functionality to existing things. But one piece of caution is try not to, or it's usually a bad idea, to write extension functions for classes that you have control over. So I really would not want to write anything, anything that extends JDapper. Can't spell or type, T-H-I-N-G. In general, it's bad form to write code in here that extends JDapper because I have access to JDapper, and it'd be much, much better for me to write this do something function within the class since I have access to directly modifying it. So you really don't want to write extension functions for libraries or classes that you have access to. It's really good for, I think it's called Monkeypatching in Ruby or whatnot, for modifying things that you don't have access to do functionality that would be useful to have throughout your custom code base. So this is an example of extension functions. Function, then the type that you're extending, the name of the function. You can add other parameters to it. So in this case, you can maybe say upper number. Call it an int. We can maybe do then, so return this dot substring from 0, comma, number to uppercase plus substring starting at number to upper. So now we have an upper function that only uppercases the first number to upper characters, and you would call that in here like this. And then I pass in a number, so we only want to uppercase hello maybe each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. So then that will return only hello uppered, and everything else will remain lowercase. So once again, it's very easy to write contrived examples of extension functions that are not good and not useful. Try not to do that. But they are very powerful, and they can be used to really clean up and help make your code base much more clean if used correctly. So this is a tool that you need to use wisely and you need to be disciplined about, but it is a very good tool to have, and I hope you guys enjoyed learning about extension functions. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and thanks for watching. Cheers.